An angel watching over the final resting place of a little girl whose wings were broken before she ever had a chance to fly.
We hoped she had just wandered away, maybe got turned around, and maybe she was scared or lost.
Angie Spade is lost in a nightmare, reliving a day 20 years ago, the day 4-year-old Jessica Phelps disappeared.
We're around the outskirts of the park.
Kind of regrouping, getting some more ideas.
I know somebody out there has Jess. We want you to bring her home.
Preschool photos.
Spade clings to the memories of her cousin Jessica, not knowing back then that this picture would be their last.
We really held out hope that she would be found and that somebody just had her and we would get her back safe.
Days, weeks, months passed by since that July day when Jessica vanished from their East Side Flint home. Countless searches, high and low, flyers blowing in the wind on every corner. Seasons changed, but no one could find Jessica.
As the time kept passing and it got to be winter and we still didn't have any solid leads of where she might be, hope starts to diminish, but you still hold out.
As the snow melted and the spring thaw began, a discovery. 15 miles away in the remote landscape of Atlas Township, bones of a small child lying on the cold, wet ground.
There's a cross tube across the road where the water comes from that side over to here. And that's what we were looking for when we found her. Rick
Schmaltz was excavating along this stretch of Horton Road for a county ditch project. He'll never forget the images of that April day.
I remember a blue shirt with a pink ballerina type thing, I guess that's what it was.
He immediately radioed out. That call traveling over the airwaves. The news spread fast.
When we got the call that they had found remains of a small child, we just kind of had that sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach.
2 days later, that feeling no longer a sinking suspicion.
Pathologist has now positively identified Jessica Phelps as being the person who was found in Atlas Township.
And everybody just burst out into tears and
tears turning to questions. Why? How? Who would kill 4-year-old Jessica Phelps?
I don't think, of all the murder cases I did, which were several hundreds of cases, that we ever went to the extent we did to preserve one particular scene the way we did in this case.
Former Genesee County prosecutor Art Bush said no stone went unturned.
We will put everything we've got into this case to try to bring the person who's responsible for this to justice.
The police had some hunches as to who they thought it might be, but we were never able to find what I thought was a suspect that had left some trail or left something we could work with.
You look at people and you think, well, that person may have been involved. Well, that person may have been involved, especially at the beginning. But I would hate to think so, but anything's possible.
Who could have possibly known to dump her body here, so far from home?
Down here in the weeds, you can see how much lower it is than the road, so even somebody walking by would never see it.
And how did no one see anything back in Flint that July day when Jessica vanished?
They're hiding something, and you can't live with that guilt forever, I would imagine. Anybody with a conscience.
Not knowing the worst part for Angie, but she knows her little angel is flying free. And Angie has no plans of going anywhere, remaining grounded as long as it takes until the day she finds justice for Jessica.
I have to think that maybe somebody's circumstances have changed and maybe they were afraid to come forward at the time, or maybe they thought that little piece of information that they had was insignificant, and maybe now they'll realize it could be the missing piece.
Well, do you have that piece of that puzzle? If you know anything about Jessica's murder, even something you might not think is significant, call Flint Police or Crime Stoppers. The phone number is 1-800-422-JAIL. Now, we've also posted a link to the Justice for Jessica Facebook page in our story on WNEM.com.